Your accessories as a powerlifter should be targeting your weaknesses. Here's how to decide what to do for your squat based on what your weakness is. First weakness, hitting depth. Depth issues come down to two root causes, mobility and stability. I have an easy test for you to decide which is your issue. You're basically going to do a bodyweight squat, and with your normal stance and foot angle, hold on to something for support. By the way, this is a good test for finding the optimal squat stance width and foot angle. Whatever lets you squat deepest probably is the best. Anyways, if you cannot hit depth on this test, your issue is mobility. But the fun thing about squats is they are their own mobility exercise. Doing some bodyweight squat holds or even just consciously working on depth in regular squats will build that mobility with time. I also like Hatfield squats as they let you use the weight to assist with depth. While not worrying about stability, good if you have the equipment to set them up. Now, if you did that bodyweight squat test and you hit depth fine, the issue is not joint mobility, it's stability. Hence why holding on to something for support let you hit depth just fine. A good accessory to help in this case is just a humble pause squat. Simple pause in the hole, get you more comfortable at that bottom position. A 1 second pause should be enough. Any more is just limiting load and not really helping our stability anymore. And keep in mind, time passes quicker in our head while lifting. I usually say a 2 count in your head will be about 1 second IRL. When using these pause squats to target instability at the bottom, I like to start with higher reps and lower weight. This gives you more reps to practice, plus lower weights are easier. As you progress in stability, you can progress these to lower reps with heavier weight. Now, second issue, the descent. If you feel uncontrolled or like you lose balance, the best tool to use is the tempo squat. This will force you to emphasize the descent and learn to control it. The slow movement also allows you to consciously focus on keeping balanced over mid-foot. I generally go for a 4 to 5 second descent. Any longer just gets too exhausting and requires such low weight it isn't very specific. For the same reason, I like to keep the reps low here, 1 to 4 range usually. Again, we aren't trying to work on our endurance. Eccentrics can be quite fatiguing, especially if you aren't acclimated to them, so go conservative with set count as well. As for execution, try to work at consistent speed. People tend to accelerate at the bottom as it's harder, which defeats the purpose here. Next issue, we're going to talk about the ascent of a squat. Now, there are usually two issues I see here. One is the inability to keep the upper back tight, and the other is the infamous good morning squat. For the good morning squat, we want to understand the biomechanics of the squat. Knee extension demands do get near their maximal limits, but hip extension demands do not, even in a full good morning squat. So the body is tilting forwards to use more of these posterior chain hip extensor muscles once our knee extensor muscles get maximized. This tilting may be an issue for somebody like an Olympic weightlifter who needs to stay upright, but assuming we're a powerlifter just looking to move the most weight, it is actually a good thing we're using more muscles here. What is an issue is the rapid shift forwards. This can throw off our balance, impairing our ability to push with our legs, and cause that excess momentum to collapse our chest. So the solution I go for here is to be more bent over on the descent, letting us use those posterior chain muscles and not have that rapid shift in position that can throw us off. The variation I like for these is above parallel pause squats. I have a whole video on these I'll link below. You squat down, get the bounce, and pause just above parallel, which will force you to maintain a strong position post-bounce. It's good to do these for low reps to allow a bit heavier weight. Make sure you stay strict on the pause height and duration. It's easy to pause higher and shorter as it's quite hard. Now, the other ascent issue, upper back strength. Recall how I said we don't get near maximal hip extension demands in a squat. The further we can lean forward, the more hip extensors we can use, but this is limited by our ability to extend our upper back. So if extending our upper back is a weakness, it's good to use variations that emphasize this as a weak point. Front squats and high bar squats both put our upper back at a disadvantage because of the bar position and work well. If you have a safety squat bar, it's a good variation as well. This variation basically places the mass of the weights a bit forwards, again working against the upper back. Now this last weakness, I'm going to hold your hand on before I tell you. You might have small legs, and you just need to get them bigger. Now, if you start doing a good morning squat at really low intensities, or your squat's way weaker than your deadlift, this may be your issue. If you can handle a lot of squat volume without getting fatigued, you might not need to do anything specific, just more squats in general, or maybe more food. But a lot of times the people with small legs are those who cannot handle a lot of squat volume. Maybe they're limited by their lower back, or they have long femurs that make squat work relatively more exhausting. In this case, you have two options. One is variations that limit loading of other muscles while still loading our quads well. High bar squats, front squats, belt squats, they all allow us to hit our quads, causing a bit less systemic fatigue by not targeting other muscles. This is also beneficial because people who cannot handle a lot of squat volume may not be getting enough skill practice in, so we're still working a squat pattern with these. And the other option is just more machine or isolation work, more stimulus to quads for less overall fatigue. As for which machine exactly, I think it depends more on the machine. Some leg presses are better than some hack squats, for example. Ultimately, just focus on the machine that feels good, and that you like, and will push hard on. So that's basically it. What squat accessories to use based on your weakness. You can mix and match these as need be. I hope this video was helpful and lets you build up your squat. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And once again, thanks for watching. And speaking of watching,